Hi there, my name is Toby, and on this video I'm asking a question, and that is, what is the fastest punch we can do? And I mean any of us, what is the fastest punch we could generate with our body? So I'm not saying that I can do the fastest punch, I'm saying what is it? What is the actual punch technique that is the fastest any of us could generate? And once we know what that is, how do we do it and how can we increase our punching speed? Well, the fastest punch, of course, has got to be the lead hand jab, simply because it's the closest to the opponent and it's got the longest reach, so it's going to be the fastest. Now, there's lots of different ways of doing this, and at the moment I'm just practicing extension. I'm just extending out from my core as fast as possible, trying to increase the speed. So I'm not too worried about the accuracy or the end result of the punch. I'm working on the body dynamics, how to use my body to generate speed. And I'm going to talk through this as we go through the video, build this up step by step. There's quite a lot of complex body dynamics that we have to understand to do this. Now, the lead hand jab is the fastest punch, but is not the most powerful punch. The most powerful punch is the overhand cross, which I just did there. And I've done another video on the overhand cross, but this one is about the fastest punch. How do we increase our speed? Well, before we go into that, let's have a look at this. This is the neutral stance. We need to find the neutral stance for our body. This is the neutral spine with neutral hips and shoulders, and I'm taking that stance and twisting slightly to the side to create a three-quarter forward stance. So this basic position allows me to do all sorts of things, and of course it allows me to do martial arts most efficiently. It's the same for kicks. This same structure, it allows greater mobility of the hips and the shoulders, and this is the overhand cross here, a roll from the back shoulder to the front. So this is the most powerful punch we could generate, and the reason it's the most powerful punch is because you've got the whole body structure behind it. It's the backhand, you've got the entire body weight, the entire body twist, and a roll and a drop of the punch is also coming slightly downwards, so you've got gravity. Now you can go back and look at my previous video on the overhand cross in which I go into more detail about that, but you can also check the comments under that video because I received a lot of criticism for that video. It was misunderstood and a lot of experts telling me I don't know how to punch, but I have spent many years doing all sorts of different types of punching, and I'm doing this for a particular reason. You see, I'm not actually worried about punching. I'm not worried about speed. I'm not worried about power. I'm actually working on body flow, body dynamics. I'm trying to feel a movement and a flow through my body. If I can get that movement and flow right, the speed will increase and the power will increase, but the effort will reduce. So the overhand cross, I'm trying to make it effortless. I'm trying to use the entire body flow to throw out the hand and create power at the end of the fist. Now here you can see me doing it. This is a three-quarter stance, so my legs are hip width apart and my shoulders are in line with the hips, so you can see my backhand is in line with my back foot and I'm rolling the shoulder as I do the overhand cross here. And this is a big movement. You see, to get the body flow, you're not worried about practicality. It's a big movement and you're trying to feel the flow and a relaxation. I'm trying to relax my body and flow. Now if I bring the fist in a bit tighter and control it, it becomes a bit more practical. So now this is a bit more of a practical overhand cross. But look, it all comes from the structure. Here's the neutral stance twisted forward, so from this structure I've got a bounce in the hips, a bounce in the shoulders, and from this bounce I'm keeping it as close to the neutral structure as possible, but I'm rolling the shoulder into the overhand cross. And I'm using the spine. You see, I'm actually arching a tiny bit backwards as I wind up and leaning or hunching slightly forward as I extend out. So there is a movement through the whole body. This is about a movement and it's about a relaxation. This is actually a pure momentum strike. Ultimately, what I'm doing here has no structure behind it. I'm throwing the hand out loose. So I could be jumping in the air doing this. There doesn't actually have to be any structure behind a momentum-based strike. So there are two types of striking, and this is important to understand. There is momentum-based striking, where you are throwing your hand or your leg and it is loose, it is relaxed. You are literally throwing it away from your body and you can maintain nearly total relaxation doing this. And this is like throwing a tennis ball. You're throwing a tennis ball at your opponent, but the tennis ball, as it flies through the air, has no structure. It's just got momentum build up. So the tennis ball is your fist in the case of the punch. And then you have structure-based striking. Now, structure-based striking, there is a structure. You lock your body in this structural isometrics, that I call it, so the whole body structure is engaged, and then you drive your whole body structure into the strike. And this is a bit more like a push, so I would also call this push punching. You are pushing your entire body structure into the opponent, but this push gets faster and faster until it becomes a strike. Now here I'm showing loose strike, so this is a whip strike. So you can have a whip strike as your jab, loose hand flicking it out like a whip, but you can also have a structure-based jab. So here I'm locking up the structure, so from the entire structure I have to now create, well, there's the whip again. This is the whip, loose flow. So I'm whipping out a loose flow. I create the flow through the structure, and there's a structure-based strike. Now here's a solid strike through the structure. So I've got to create a fast twitch through my entire bone structure and extend it out into the strike. So this is two different types of strike, and it's very important to understand this. Momentum-based strike is relaxed, and structure-based strike is tense, but the tension is in the joints, not the muscle. If you have tension in your muscles, it makes you very stiff, and it's hard to move fast. The tension has got to be in the joints. You see, the joints are elastic, the tendons are elastic, and they can move very fast. A fast twitch in the joints can create a lot of speed. And here I'm just showing again, you see the whip. The whip comes from the hips, from the back leg, through the spine, out the shoulder, and whips out to the hand. And this is a little drill. If you guys are martial artists, you can practice this with your partner. You hold your hand up and you're trying to hit your opponent's hand, but the opponent's got to pull the hand away. So they've got to try and stop you hitting them, and you've got to be fast enough that you hit their hand before they can pull it away. And here I'm demonstrating the two different strikes. You see, there's a whip is loose, and then a structure-based strike is harder and faster. See, generally speaking, structure-based strikes will give more power because there is weight behind them, but momentum-based strikes require more skill. It requires a lot of skill to flow your body in a whip to create this. Now, the secret is the elbow tendons, and this is how you generate force in the elbow. You see, twist your hand up so the elbow joint is facing up. See, the tip of the elbow is up, but twist your wrist over against it. You see, pull the elbows in, so the elbow goes in towards you as you twist the little finger up, but then twist the wrist over, but keep the elbow up. So now the elbow, and then traditionally they train this sometimes by putting a little coin. You put a little coin in the middle of your elbow, and it mustn't fall off. So you don't turn your elbow over, you just turn your wrist over. And the effect of this is to create powerful tension in the forearm and the elbow joint. So this is about the elbow joint. Now, really, if you want speed, the fastest speed is going to be simply the elbow. And this is what I'm doing here, is just the elbow, nothing else. I'm creating a fast twitch in the elbow joint. So this is very fast, but of course it hasn't got much reach. All you've got is just the elbow itself. And that's the elbow loose, loosen up the shoulders. But we want to create a full body strike. So a full body strike, we need the whole structure. And there's two ways of doing this. So this is the first obvious way, a flow through the body. I push the back foot into the ground, it flows through the spine and extends out and ends at the front hand. So you can see this slow motion, slow wave comes from the foot all the way through out to the punch. And this is also the secret of 1 inch power. But this is actually too slow. This is too slow. If you look at it, the direction has got to come from the back all the way to the hand. Now the real way we've got to do this is from the core outwards. This is faster. So you can't waste time building up from the leg. So from the core I extend the arm out, but at the same time I extend the back leg out. So the core, I'm expanding out from the core. The front hand extends away from the core, and the back leg extends away from the core. So I'm expanding away from the core simultaneously. The back leg pushes into the ground, and here's the slow motion version from the leg through the hand. You see the difference, flowing away from the back to the front. It's good, but it's slow. We want speed. Now from the core. So the core expands, the hand goes out, and the leg goes out into the ground at the same time. So the leg is kicking into the ground, and that drives you forward, but you're not waiting for that to get to the hand. At the same time, you're flinging the arm out, you're extending the elbow from the core. So this is more advanced. This is quite a complex body dynamics, and it takes some time to get the hang of this and the feeling of this. So you've got to play around and play with this and try and feel this flow through your body. So here you can see slow motion, the core extending out to the front hand and at the same time pushing the back leg into the ground. It's an explosion from the core, and there's a combination of tension and relaxation here. This is not a pure momentum strike. This is a combination of momentum and tension or structure strike. I've got to have the structure from the core going out in order to push the back foot into the floor. Now, a bit more, we want to increase the speed of the elbow. So another way of increasing the speed of the elbow is to pull the shoulder back. Again, this doesn't make sense because I'm shortening the arm, but actually all I want to do is straighten the elbow as fast as possible. So in order to straighten the elbow as fast as possible, if I pull the shoulder back, this will straighten the elbow at the same time as I push the hand forward. So from a bent elbow to a straight elbow, as fast as possible, I'm engaging the shoulder. And this also goes together with structure, because I want to hold the shoulders up and back. This is a better structure, closer to the neutral stance, and it will prevent injury. If I throw my hand forward all the time and extend the shoulder forward, you get a lot of tension in the back, and you can injure your shoulders and tense up the back muscles too much. So you do want to train slowly and carefully. There are risks to this. There are a lot of risks in this practice. And because you are trying to do fast twitch movements, you're using tension and relaxation together in a dynamic way. Now here I'm following along. See, of course, the jab, the lead hand jab, is followed by the overhand cross. This is probably the most useful, most practical hand combo in all fighting, all self-defense. Lead hand jab followed by the overhand cross. The lead hand jab is the fastest punch, and the overhand cross is the most powerful punch, but probably the slowest punch. So you need to follow it with a fast punch. And you can see how one leads up to the other. As I expand out from the lead hand jab, it winds up the spine for the overhand cross. So it's a logical flow. And you can see the overhand cross is free. I'm throwing myself forward as powerful as possible, and I'm even, skipping forward at the end of this punch. So I'm not worried about the practicality, the effectiveness of it. I'm trying to work out the body flow, the inner feeling. I'm trying to perfect this flow. And this is important to understand when you watch my videos. You see, I'm doing martial arts, I'm doing all sorts of different things, but these are all secondary. My real focus is on two things: the inner body structure, I've got to feel my bone structure, and the inner body flow. I've got to feel a flow of movements inside my body. These two things are key, and these two things are different. They are separate from everything else. These by themselves are not martial arts. This is just flow. It could be just dancing. But it's an inner awareness. An inner awareness of my structure, controlling the structure, and an inner awareness of my movement, a flow between or through the structure, like a whip. A whip is a flow. So if I want to create a whip, I have to create a seamless flow. You can't have an interrupted flow. The whip won't work. It needs to be a seamless flow, and that requires continuous relaxation. But here in the lead hand jab, there's also tension. So I've got to have tension to fast twitch the tendons out into this jab. And this jab also looks a bit like praying mantis kung fu, and I'm going to talk more about the elbow joint and how to control the tendons in this elbow joint. So stay tuned for the next video, but I hope this one made sense. Do check out the other video. I'll leave the link here to the overhand cross, and if you read the comments, make sure you also read my answers, because I do answer every criticism. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.